I want to say welcome to everybody. It's now 5 o'clock, so I want to honor your time. I am recording the meeting because there's a few teachers who wanted to be here but could not, so they asked me to record it. I want to say thank you very much for coming tonight, parents. My name is Mary Blackman. I am the new principal over the K through 5 section of Lee Virtual School. Inside the chat box, I put the link to the agenda. So if you want it, you can go there and see it. I'll submit it again. But our SAC meetings are a great opportunity and a great time for us to get together and try to go through things that are happening at the school. I can tell you a little bit inside the agenda. It talks about the norms for the meeting and making sure that we're just present with each other. And if you have any questions or anything as we go through this, please just put them in the chat box. I'll be monitoring the chat box. Ms. Ramsey is really going to be our host tonight. She is our reading coach for the school. And a little bit about why we wanted to focus this SAC meeting a little bit on Iready. Over the course of the year, the school has grown probably about 10 times. We went from a little over 360 at the beginning of the year to we are sitting right now at 3223 as of this morning, with about 2,500 of those students being full-time virtual students. The others are part-time, they're going to their home schools and they're taking extra classes. And Iready has become a part of our school. And I know that there's a lot of questions, and rightfully so. So we wanted to spend some time with you and answer some questions about what Iready is and what it's good for. And Zachary, if you were in here a minute ago, you heard Zachary talk about how he's using Iready and how his teacher is using it. And before I turn it over to Ms. Ramsey, I just wanted to kind of give an overview as to how Iready is being used and what it is. A few years ago, we had STAR, and STAR was this diagnostic test that we had, and it was used in the physical schools, and it kind of gave the teachers some insight into where the kids are in their reading. Our virtual program is very, very strong in its academics. It's wonderful. It is a great, great program. The Iready is more about teaching the reading skills. So making sure that the students are being given the opportunity to work on the skills that they need rather than just the curriculum. So it's kind of, think about it as if you go to the doctor and you have a cold and he's going to ask you what the symptoms are, and then he's going to help you with treating whatever the illness or the symptoms are. Iready is the same. It is just a diagnostic assessment that tells the teachers and tells the kids and tells the parents, here's some areas that your child can work on. And then Iready will create a path. It's called a learning path. So the child is only working on what they need. And that's the great thing about it, because some kids need one thing and some kids need something else. And so Iready is that tool that we are using this year to kind of build that bridge. Children who need enrichment, they're scoring very high in their reading. This provides them an opportunity to push them even higher. Students who are struggling, maybe in vocabulary or comprehension, Iready gives them more time on comprehension, vocabulary. So that is why the program is there. And that is why we took it on. And we, mainly because of the size of our school now, providing some opportunities for interventions or acceleration and enrichment, is the reason that we're really excited to have the program, because if you've been into your child's learning path, you can see exactly what your child is doing, what they're working on in real time. So that's one of the reasons that we have Iready this year. But I am going to turn it over to Ms. Ramsey, who is our reading coach, and she's also one of our intensive reading teachers. And she has a presentation to kind of give you some background. As she goes through, again, if you have questions, please put them in the chat box and I will be answering as we go along, or I will turn it over to Ms. Ramsey at the end and we'll do some Q&A. So Ms. Ramsey, I'm going to be quiet.
Thank you. Well, you pretty much did my presentation, so thank you very much. But I am going to go over what is the diagnostic and what is the learning path? I'm going to answer the questions besides what is it, what does it tell us, and what can you as parents do to increase your child's reading and math score. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with a video doing a great job explaining what is the Iready reading diagnostic and math diagnostic. Oh.
You may need to share your screen.
I apologize. I don't know. It did say I was sharing, but there we go. All right, sorry about that.
Hi, my name is Mark Bernstein. I'm a National Director at Curriculum Associates, and we are the Iready people. For the student, Iready serves two functions. Number one, it's an online diagnostic assessment that pinpoints math and reading skills down to the sub-skill level. And number two, it's online learning that caters to a student's specific needs, whether those needs are on, above, or below level. I'd like to share 4 things you need to know about Iready. Number one, the Iready online assessment is adaptive in nature. This means that students see questions based on how they're performing. If a student struggles, the questions get easier. If a student is breezing through, the questions become more challenging. Once a student completes the diagnostic, the teacher will know exactly what this student needs, so it eliminates the necessity to overtest our children, thus allowing more time for teaching. Number 2, the Iready online instruction is personalized to the individual. Once a student completes the diagnostic, his or her results will differ from classmates, so we give each student their own pathway based on diagnostic results. If a student needs help with reading comprehension, that student will get lessons to help. If a student has geometry skills above grade level, that student will receive geometry content that's above grade level. Support for those who have gaps to fill, enrichment for those who are exceeding grade level expectations. Number 3, Iready is not a grading tool. Your child won't get an A or C- based on how they perform in Iready. Iready supports students, challenges students, gives students math and reading content that is right at their level. Iready helps children to grow, but it is not used to assign grades. And number 4, Iready is not designed to replace the teacher. In every school district, teachers are an irreplaceable asset. Iready supports teachers by helping group students with similar needs for targeted instruction, what we call differentiation. Once small groups are established, Iready's teacher toolbox is just one of the many resources that teachers may use to provide targeted instruction. But replace the teacher? Never. Thank you very much for watching this video. We look forward to seeing your students succeed.
So that's a nice overview of what Iready is. I will say that the Iready diagnostic, it is a longer test. It sometimes is, could be up to an hour and sometimes even over an hour. And that's because it's really pinpointing what the child might need reinforcement in, or what they are excelling in and what will challenge them. So I do know that has been brought up before. Why does this diagnostic test take so long? It really does a great job of pinpointing those things. So going on more of what I just said, it is meeting your child, your student exactly where they are, and it's providing data to increase your students' learning gains. It consists of the 2 parts, a diagnostic test and the personalized instruction. It's an adaptive test, and that's what Mark, the presenter in that video, was saying. A student will be given a question at their grade level to start off with, and depending on how they answer that question, if they answer it correct, it will go up and give them a more difficult question. Depending on how they score on that question, it will either continue to go up to a more challenging question, or it will go down to a lower level question. And they do that within each of the domains. And I'll talk about the domains a little bit later in my presentation. And then after the diagnostic, Iready will create this personalized instruction that is tailored to your child's needs and skill level. They will work on that learning path. We suggest 45 minutes a week in both subjects. That is what the experts are telling us. We will see the most benefit, the most gains with our students is that 45 minutes a week per subject. Also, in this personalized instruction, we're going to be looking at, are they passing the assessment or the quiz that follows? There's always going to be in this learning path a tutorial where they go over the skill, and then there will be some interactive lessons, and then finally a quiz to see did they master that particular skill. So we're going to monitor that and make sure that yes, they are on for the certain amount of time, but are they being successful? And if they're not being successful, that's where we as teachers will go in and give intervention with that specific skill. So we took our second diagnostic, well, elementary took their second diagnostic just at the end of January, beginning of February. Middle school completed their first diagnostic. Some students in middle school did complete their second. But you should have received the report, the diagnostic report. If you didn't receive it for elementary, please reach out to your teacher. Middle school, it's being rolled out right now, so you will be receiving that report within the next week, sometime next week. But just to preview what it looks like, this is what you will receive. This for families report. And you can see, looking at it, I know it's a little bit small, but you're going to be looking at how did your child score on diagnostic 1 and diagnostic 2. So this blue bar here is the graph for that particular assessment. Down here, the placement level, that's going to indicate how did your student perform on each test in relation to their grade level. And up here in the green, that would be on grade level. So you see this particular child was a little below grade level. And then when they took the diagnostic, again, there was great growth. And now that child is on grade level. Down here, down at the bottom, this is how does your child, this is a percentile. So how does your child, what is their percentile in comparison to other children in that same grade nationwide? Over here in E, these are the different domains. And I'm going to go ahead and click on right here and to show you what the domains are that we look at. For math, you see the 4 domains that are listed, and you can read through those. And then for reading, we have the readiness skills, the phonological awareness, the phonics, and then we go into the high frequency words, the grade level vocabulary, and comprehension, both for literature and for informational text. So that's the domains. And this is up here, sorry, I already clicked out of it, was the parent report. Sorry about that. But again, if you have not received that report yet and child is in elementary, please reach out to their teacher and ask for it. And middle school is going out next week. So the learning path, now they've taken the diagnostic, this path has been created. Now what can you do? So I'm going to go back to this particular video. It will explain, and it will show you what to look for. That's why I really like this video. It shows you from the student's dashboard.
Iready is an online assessment and instruction program for reading and mathematics that will help determine your students' needs, personalize their learning, and monitor progress throughout the school year. In this video, we will learn: what is Iready personalized instruction? What can I see on the student dashboard? How can I view my student's progress? And how do I support my student? Iready personalized instruction provides students with lessons based on their individual skill level and needs, so they can learn at a pace that is just right for them. These lessons are fun and interactive to keep your student engaged as they learn. Your student's dashboard may have a single choice of working on teacher-assigned lessons, or two choices of working on teacher-assigned lessons or My Path. Your student can pick math or reading lessons. On the bottom of the dashboard, your student will have different choices: To Do, My Progress, My Stuff, and for math, Learning Games. To Do. Click here to see your students' lessons and assignments. My Progress. You will see stats for your student here. We'll come back to this in just a minute. My Stuff. For grades K through 2, your student can pick buddies, background themes, and play games with coins earned. For grades 3 and up, My Stuff will include background themes and rewards options. Learning Games. These are games to help your student improve his or her math skills. Your student can play learning games when he or she finishes lessons. Learning games are available for grades K through 8. On your student's dashboard, click on My Progress. Time on Task tells you how many minutes your student has spent on lessons this week. Lessons Passed tells you how many lessons your student has passed this school year. Lesson Streak tells you how many lessons your student has passed in a row. And Completed Work shows you your student's past work. Finally, how to support your student. Explain to your student how working on Iready will help them continue their learning while they're away from school, preparing them and their teachers for coming back to school, and help ensure that they are ready for their next grade level. Make a plan together with your student on how to spend their time at home and when they will work on their learning activities. Encourage your student to take each lesson and quiz question seriously. Track and discuss progress. Regularly review progress with your student using the My Progress page. Ask your student's teacher for guidance on how many minutes they should spend on lessons each week, as schools have discretion on what they assign. Celebrate your students' progress. Celebrating milestones such as passing a lesson or reaching a specific goal can help keep your student motivated. Follow your teacher's guidance. As you plan how your student will spend their learning time, your student's teacher is your best resource for ensuring there is a variety in the activities they work on beyond the time they spend on the online learning. For more family resources, please visit our Family Center at ireadycentral.com/Family Center. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and thanks for being a part of our Iready family.
So that gives you a great picture of what to look for when you're looking at your child's learning path. And if you ever need more resources or you have questions, there's always a help in the upper right-hand corner. It will take you to the Family Center with just all kinds of resources and information. So if we look over here, I did put our goals when students are working on their Iready path. The goal is 45 minutes a week for math and reading, ideally passing 1 to 2 lessons. And sometimes the lessons do take a while. One lesson may take them the majority of their time that week, especially if they get into the close reading lessons, the comprehension lessons. It's going to take them a while to get through. So they may only complete one lesson that week, and that's okay, as long as they are putting in their time and they are passing that quiz at the end with a 70% or higher. I've included down at the bottom some home data trackers like the man was using in the video, the dad or that he was using in the video to track how his child was doing on their learning path. And so these are printable. You can use them if you want to. It's something tangible that they could actually color in, or they can write. But you can always just look at their dashboard and pull up the progress that way too. And then lastly, I just have all kinds of resources that you as a parent, as a learning guide, can use. You might find helpful. I especially want to point out these fridge tips. I think that is something literally put on the refrigerator to remind you to check on different things. And then of course the Iready Family Center just has all kinds of great resources. So I know you may have questions. I do have a tendency to talk fast. So I will go ahead and stop sharing my screen and just see if anybody has any questions for me. And there's a lot in the chat box.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and read through. Mr. Metzger has been kind enough to answer many of them. Is there a parent account for Iready, or how can they get to their child's Iready account to see their progress?
So they go through their child's path. They just have their child log in, and just like the video showed, that's what you would look at. And if you go down at the bottom, that's where you're going to find all the different tabs that you want to go into to see how they're progressing through their lessons, whether it be their minutes, whether it be the lessons that they're passing. So down at the bottom of your child's dashboard, that's where you would find it. There is no parent account. I'm so sorry.
And if they have a tough time on one skill and it repeats the lesson, but they still do not get it, is there a way for the parent to watch the lesson?
The only way, that's a good question. That's a really good question. I don't want to say for sure. I mean, they could sit with their child and watch it that way as they go through. But I don't know if it could be pushed out specifically again. The child will repeat a lesson. Let's say they're having trouble with inferencing, and they didn't pass the lesson the first time. They will get another lesson on inferencing, a different lesson. And so it's taught in a different way, and then they'll be quizzed on that again. And so if they pass it, great, and they move on. If they don't pass it, then what happens is that domain, they fail the lesson 2 times and they're offered it a 3rd time a different way and they still don't pass it, the teacher gets a notification and that domain is turned off. So that comprehension domain would be turned off until the teacher contacts the student, goes over that skill with the student, and then she can turn that domain back on and the student can progress through the lessons again. I don't know if that answered it. Do you want me to say it in a different way? I can't. Whoever asked it, please unmute yourself if I didn't explain it well enough.
You gave me good information. This is Tina Holdaway.
Hi.
But we did get contacted by the teacher, and they just said that this was the lesson that they had problems with, but I can't go back and take a look at the lesson to see what it was even about. So I'm a little stuck on what to go forward with.
I understand that.
Because I've never seen it.
That's a great question. Let me find out from my contact with Iready, our rep, and see if there's a way that then you can go in and view it. I don't want to answer incorrectly, so I will find out, and I just don't know the best way to communicate because I'm sure other parents have that same question. Miss Mary, do you have any idea?
I do not know. I've never gone in as a parent, but we will find out tomorrow.
Yeah,
We will call
Tina,
our rep.
I will find out, but I just don't, I want to know how I can push out that answer to all parents because I'm sure there's others sitting in on this meeting that might have the same question. Maybe just have the teacher send it out in their weekly notes.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Tina, is your child an elementary student or a middle school student?
Elementary, 5th grade.
Okay. All right. When I find that answer out, I'll ask the teachers to send it out in their communication to all elementary parents, not just to
All right,
you, but I will find that out.
So are there any other questions on Iready that we can help answer or try to answer?
I will tell you that the school that I came from before LVS Virtual, we have been using Iready for about 5 years now, and we have seen such great growth with students that are routinely using their path, going on their path for that 45 minutes that they are, really trying, going back in the lesson. If it's a comprehension question or a vocabulary question, they're going back in the text and they're really using those skills, those reading skills. We've seen such growth with our students, and I really do think the program is very good and very helpful. So I'm just relaying what I've seen in my school, my old school. Anybody else?
Well, thank you, Ms. Ramsey. I appreciate you putting that together. I know that it's a new concept for our school, and I appreciate you bringing it. We were using it at my previous school as well, and it was proving very successful in the growth. It's all about LVS doing the Iready. Just K through 8 is doing Iready. High school has their own thing that they do based on student reading ability. But we are doing it K through 8. And I do want to do a shout out to the parents because this was the first time that we've ever engaged in such a wide initiative at our school. And every grade level from kindergarten to 8th grade, we had nothing less than 88% of our students participate, with elementary being 96% and above of all the students participating in the Iready diagnostic, which is huge. So I want to thank you, parents, and any students that are on for really, giving us that information. Ms. Felt, I'm going to have this Zoom recorded and we will post it on the website, as well as Ms. Ramsey's PowerPoint, so parents can access it at any time that they like to review it. Because we did have 33 people sign up to come tonight, which is huge. But I know that some people had some other things that they had to attend to. It can be one student put in here about the 45 minutes. We are encouraging the 45 minutes because with that amount of time focusing just on the skills the children need, the program has research to show that 45 minutes is where we get the greatest growth. But any amount of time that the children can do, Ms. Mateo, is going to be useful to them. So, you know, they do what they can do. And we appreciate any time that the children can attend to the skills that they need to grow in either math or reading. Are there any other questions on Iready before we finish up the SAC agenda for today? Once a week, they will do a rocker. What is a rocker?
I'm think
That sounds like a teacher.
I think that might be something that an incentive that the teacher came up with.
Yeah, I think that's the
to
teacher initiative, sort of like the teacher king. I mean, the Iready king in one class. So
Right.
it sounds like the Iready rocker is probably her incentive. We are doing incentives for the kids to try to encourage them to read, to work in Iready, including some crazy hair, I think, is on the list for me. I think they get to choose my haircut in one point, so that should be interesting. But we will.
Iready rocker is
Is an
an
award.
is within the within Iready.
It's the 5th grade award. Thank you, Miss Wolverton. It's the 5th grade award for the reader, so that's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is. And I know they did speak about the math games, and I understand those are supposed to be really wonderful for building math fluency. It will not go towards the 45 minutes, but it is a fun thing to do once the student has met their 45 minutes in math to go on to the games. But I understand, and you know, from the math teachers, I've heard that they're really wonderful and just really great with building that math fluency.
Okay.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. So just to finish up our SAC meeting, we have a few pieces of business we have to attend to. So the agenda is there, and I'm going to go ahead and take over sharing the screen to post the agenda. Let's see if I can you see the agenda? Or do you see you? Okay. So I have 2 screens, so I'm learning. So looking at the agenda, Mr. Schilling had on here the enrollment process for 2021, but unfortunately he couldn't be here tonight. So I'm going to defer to him with that enrollment process because I am not well versed in our enrollment process yet, so I don't want to speak out of turn. Ms. Conway, I believe Ms. Conway is on here, and she is our DAC representative, who is, the DAC is the District Advisory Council. So Ms. Conway, if you wanted, or Ms. Wetland, if you wanted to give us any information that you might have about DAC.
Yeah, I don't think she was able to attend the DAC meeting this past week, but I did get the notes from the DAC meeting and I went over them. The only things that I really saw that really would pertain to LVS was talking about the Iready diagnostic, which we've already gone over. And the other thing was they had some discussion on the state testing and how that would be for Home Connect and LVS learners. And from what they were talking about in the DAC meeting, it looks like they're pretty much what they're saying is custodians sanitize the areas, the areas are cleaned, and I'm not sure how the testing is going to look this year for LVS. I don't know if it's going to be there at the building or online. They didn't mention that, but they just said in the DAC meeting, they discussed the cleanliness of everything and following CDC guidelines and all of that stuff. So that was the only things that I noticed in the DAC meetings that would pertain to Lee Virtual.
And I can share that testing will be in person. It will look very different because we are going to be implementing quite a few COVID guidelines, including the social distancing, the sanitizing, making sure that there's the 6 feet between the children if they're testing there. We have a testing coordinator that is working on that now, but because we are multi-level, making sure that we get everybody, including our high schoolers, in for their testing. So it's a very coordinated effort to ensure the safety of the children who do come in and test. But just leaving a physical school, I can tell you the protocols that are in place are very strong, and we will be adhering to them, and they will be an expectation that will be followed at all times when the children come in for testing. We can do, if you guys would like, next month, we can have our testing coordinator come in and talk more about what testing is going to look like, as well as the rest of the admin team, to kind of give you some information on that if that's of interest to you. If you'll put it in the chat box, I will make sure we set that up for our March meeting. And
I would say, speaking for Shauna and myself, I think it would be a great idea to have someone, testing coordinator, to come in and discuss how the testing is going to look. Speaking as an 8-year veteran of LVS Virtual,
yes, ma'am.
This is a quite a different year for us, and I know testing will look a lot different, and I think we would feel a lot more comfortable if we had more information on how it was going to look and how it was going to work.
Great. Okay. Yes, I will set that up. I will work on that as soon as we hang up tonight and make sure we get something started for you. So with that, going down through it, I do want to bring a request for funds for kindergarten. We do have the funds available, but kindergarten has requested this. It's a phonemic awareness curriculum that they want to use for our small group instruction for our kindergartners. The cost for everybody, which is about 100, today we had 178 kindergartners. So to get the resources that we need for the 5 teachers that are teaching the program and doing small groups, the cost would be $471.94. We do have those funds available when our school won some A+ money a few years back. That's to be used on curriculum, but I have to bring it to you for a vote. So with your approval, if you would either type yay or nay in the chat box, I will take, that will be recorded, and we will take it to the kindergarten team. And if it's approved, we will get on that tomorrow and take care of that. So I'm going to stop sharing and go for a good, so the motion has been approved, and so far it is a unanimous yay. So they will be very happy. So thank you very much for that. Is there a chance a child with a note to not wear a mask be present? One thing that we were actually speaking about this today, is about small group instruction for students with special accommodations. So we are working on that now, including students who won't be wearing a mask. They will be in a special small group. Again, we are going to do everything in our power to make sure that everybody who walks in the building is safe. Masks are required while in the building. Mr. Metzger is correct. So it would be something that if a child wanted to come in without a mask, I would have to take it to the COVID task force. But we would make accommodations based on that. But yes, none of us are allowed in the building at all without masks. And so, and again, the district has been very, very good about ensuring the safety of everybody there. But at this time, I will open it up for the good of the order. If you have anything, if you want to unmute your mic or type in the chat box, we are here. Okay, with that, I make a motion. Well, first, our next SAC meeting will be on Thursday, March 25th at 5 p.m. That will be via Zoom. You will have to pre-register, and the topic will be over the testing. We will have the testing coordinators attend and talk to us a little bit more about the testing environment, how it's going to work, as well as not just COVID protocols, but we will talk about the testing environment in general and how that's going to work, because it is a very different year, especially for Lee Virtual, with the amount of growth that it has had. Everything is changing. I described it to someone today. It's like going down a dirt road you've never been on before and finding every pothole the first time. So we're going to make sure that we try to navigate through the potholes. But yes, we are going to host another FSA Q&A, not just FSA, but we will also do things for, we have FSA coming up. We have the FCAT, the science. We also have all those AP exams and all of those wonderful things for our secondary students as well. But if there are no other questions, I move to adjourn the meeting. It is 5:41. If I can get a motion and a second, I will call the meeting. Okay, awesome. So thank you guys so much for coming. We're going to stay on for a little bit because I know that there is a parent information Zoom that happens right after this one. So I will just hang out with Mr. Metzger and see if anybody has anything. And Mr. AJ, if you guys will hang out with me because you know more answers than I do.